Hello, and welcome. Thanks for joining me late tonight. It's a busy week with 4th of July. We're probably not going to have a whole lot of an audience this evening as well either. But I want to thank everybody that does pop in and join me and everything. It's been a crazy day. I didn't get a chance to get anything out or, earlier and stuff. As you know, I have a full-time job as well as Spindle TV and making these videos and everything. And it's just been nonstop because, people are carving and getting ready for, the holiday weekend and events and stuff like that. So it's a lot of time on the phones and just going, what's the better term, balls to the wall nonstop. But it's thank you for joining me. That's all I can say. So tonight I'd like to host a little bit of a Q&A where you can ask questions and I can answer. But at the same time, I'm going to be modeling a project from scratch. I've got an idea of what I want to make, and you'll get to see as we build it, and everything up. It's not going to be like crazy, like I'm not going to model Bigfoot or something like that, Brooks. But we're gonna create a project, see how it turns out and everything. And at the same time, I'd love for you to post questions that I can answer and possibly help out, because I'm going to be just straight up honest with you. I put out a post saying that, I was going to go live at 8:20, and here it is 8:40 and everything. At 8 o'clock or 7:30, 8 o'clock, I started trying to, figure out what I want to, teach and all that stuff. And after 10 years, it's hard to come up with projects anymore, projects that, might be of interest to you, or, that would be a good learning tool and stuff. And so I love when you guys participate, guys and girls participate, and, ask questions. And it gives me a sense of what you want to learn, right? Not what I want to teach you, what you want to learn. Coming up with projects every week is the most brutal thing for me, because it's hard, I look at what everybody else is doing, and all the projects are out there, right? All the how-tos are out there. You've got Mark Lindsay, you've got Garrett Frome, you've got, everybody, Ryan, and, everybody, right, doing everything. And it's hard coming up with a project that hasn't been beat to death. A project that I wanted to teach tonight was, and I might even show just a little bit of it, but how to set up a tapered ball nose as a V-bit for V-carve inlay. You ever seen those cool deep inlays like Breon wood and a few other empty woods and a few others do those deep cutting board and butcher block inlays and on. If you ever look really closely at their bit, they're actually using a very fine tapered ball nose, like a 32nd with a 64th tip, or even finer than that, and they're using it with the V-carve inlay tool. So how to set that up, and also I'll probably show that too for sure. But I tell you, it's tough. It's like, man, it's like, no, that's the. It takes 5 seconds to show how to add a bit, right? So trying to think of what would be good. So I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing with this modeling project. I got something in mind, but at the same time, I would love to interact with you. Where you could ask me some questions, and hopefully I can answer them. And if I can't, I don't know. I never claim to be any kind of master or anything. I don't know all the answers, but I'll do my best. Okay. So with that being said, Let's see if we can get into it. Now, if you do ask questions, and I'll throw a question mark or two in front of your question in the chat, just so I know it's like it's a question and not just a conversation you're having with someone else. All right, with that being said, let's jump over to my screen on Spire. And there you go, Roger. If I thought that people would tune in to go over things that they've already know, and they won't get bored and get this guy's not really teaching us much that we don't know on our own, kind of thing like that, then cool. I could absolutely go over things proper ways to use guidelines to lay out a design, or how to add custom bits, and how to there's a lot of things I could talk about now that hasn't already been beat to death. But yeah, I mean, if y'all are into that, great. We could definitely doing that, and all. All right, so right out of the gate, let's switch around. Let me switch sides with this screen. There we go. And let's make this one bigger, and let's put me down in the bottom corner down here. There we go. Hello, yeah, I'm down here. All right, and let's start off with a question. Great, wonderful. And let's see what we got here. So I'm going to pop your questions up if I can, on the screen and stuff. So today I attempted to make a 2-letter MB raised text with a create rounded shape tool. Only the B was created. Your thoughts? All right. So typically, a lot of times, depending on how you had the M and the B, I don't know if they were separate or if they were kind of like, blended together or welded together or something like that. Sometimes, Brooks, if there's an overlap that hasn't been dealt with, then it's totally ignored, meaning totally ignored. Like it will create the component, even on a V-carve, for like modeling and V-carve, even on a V-carve, like when you create the V-carve toolpath, if there's an overlap, in some instances, it's not like a glitch. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes it'll go right through the overlaps. Sometimes it only will just, you'll look and go, why am I missing half my word? Or why am I missing these letters or that? And if you're only dealing with 2 letters, if they're separate and only one is creating, I don't have an answer for that one. But if they were somehow together, where there was some kind of overlap or some type of where it wasn't quite joined, or the vector wasn't totally closed, if it was welded or something like that and it wasn't totally closed, it will not create on that. Or if it was 2 closed vectors and they were overlapping and the overlap wasn't properly dealt with or something, then it would only possibly create one or the other, but not both. That would be the only thing that I could say. So, like as an example, let's say that I have, I don't know if I can recreate it, but let me see here. Let's say that I have an M and a B. I'll just do capitals. It's my mother's initials. Let's say, are you making something for my mama, Brooks? All right, let's go here and let's break that up. Now I'm going to use it as, instead of fonts, as 2 separate vectors. You might have kept yours as a font at 2 separate words and all. We'll try it both ways and everything. But a lot of times, Brooks, let's say that we have a slight, I don't know if that would be, I think that's an overlap where they're touching like that. Possibly. But let's say that we are coming over with the, it looked like, believe you said you were creating the rounded shape tool. Create rounded shape tool. And I'll just go with like a 60-degree profile. We'll scale 100% base height and everything. And then just, let's see if it creates it with them just touching. Yeah, so in this case, it created both of them, right? Let's actually do an overlap. Let's close that and hit Control Z. Let's bring this over and let's try that again and see what happens. It's probably gonna we're gonna do it as a font too, because that'll be a difference as well too. Yep, no, that one worked, but it created the B as a whole, and it really didn't create I didn't really have any parameters in there, but it did create the model. It just didn't create the inside of the B. Let's do it as a font instead of 2 vectors. Let's see here. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Let's go back one where it's a font. And let's go back in here. Let's put the B on a separate line. And then let's break the line into, or the 2 into lines. And let's see what happens if it's a font and there's an overlap. Let's see if that makes any difference. I don't know. Like I said, I doubt I could recreate it, but I will show you in a minute, like if there's an open vector somewhere. But let's see what happens here. Nope, that created it as well. And let's go 60. So there's something there, but that created. So the only way that I could see, I mean, I've seen it happen before, especially in VCarve when there's overlaps, it'll ignore it sometimes. But now let's say, for instance, just for kicks and giggles, you know, let's say that you came in here, and let's say that you came in here like this. Just I'm hypothesizing here, but let's say you came in and you trimmed away the overlap, but you forgot to join it, like this wasn't checked. And let's say I trim this away. And first of all, I got to turn this one into a font. That one already is a font. Yeah. So let's say that we're here. We trim these 2 lines. Well, now when we trim the 2 lines, they didn't actually join. Okay. And then of course we know that if we try to create something here, and again, you know, it's not a closed vector at all. So it's not even going to let me. So let's say that the M, I don't know, for whatever reason, let's say the M was closed and the B was overlapping and it wasn't. And it's not even going to let me, it's not even going to give me the opportunity to create a component. So that one, Buddy Rowe, I'm not sure. So they were separated. Yeah, I'd have to look at your design to be able to tell you exactly what, you know, what would have went on with that. What's crazy is delete that span. Join with a straight line. There we go. That's not even a straight line. That's crazy. Yeah, not 100% sure. I'd have to see what that one is. But I've seen where, you know, when you're creating a model, there's something. There's a reason for it. Just got to figure out what that reason is. There's a reason for it. You just got to figure it out. It could be a node. Are they vectors or are they fonts? Did they get converted to vectors or are they fonts? Look at the nodes. Maybe you have a 0-link span, meaning that your 2 nodes overlap. So do the vector validator tool, run your vector validator tool. Make sure there's no funkiness, no 0-link spans or anything like that. And then check your join tool. Make sure that all the vectors are closed. You know, that's the only way I could see that, you know, that would happen. Because even with them separated, unfortunately, I'm not able to recreate that and everything. So so sorry, that was a, I wish I would have, wish I'd had a better answer for the first question, Brooks, man. Now, hold on a second, Brooks. Hold on a second. 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 Hold on a minute. There were fonts. Now, here's the deal. Let me find one. Oh, it's like a needle in a haystack. Hold on a second. Let me find one. It's like a needle in a haystack. Oh, what font would be one that would have that? What font would have that funkiness? Let me see. Let me see if I can get an example just of one, so I can kind of zoom in and show you. Oh, I thought I had it. Come on now. Bold. Hold on. Let me get bold going on here. Bold is the thing. Give me just a second. All right. Now, it's not more so on the B than it is the M, but sometimes on a font, sans serif collection was the font. Okay, I'll look at that. But sometimes on a font, there can be an overlap within the letter that can cause it to not be an ideal vector to create the part, some cases. But the sans serif collection, I mean, sans serif is pretty clean. Sans serif collection. Did you get rid of, Brooks, did you get rid of the overlap there? And right here, there's an overlap. The whole letter has an overlap right there. So that's an overlap, the whole letter. So let's break that up. You can see there's two lines there. So let's break that up. Let's go to node editing. Okay. Now, here, let me see. I'm falling to pieces. Let me make sure. Cut the vector, make sure there's nothing going funky there. Okay. So I'm assuming right out of the gate that you would have taken care of these. So if it was a font, you would have had to convert it to a curve to take care of those, right? And so if I was, let's say I go 60 degrees, because you'd have to get rid of those overlaps. I think I was zoomed in. You saw what I was talking about. But you see how the M and the B right there, the M still made it with that overlap, but the B didn't. Wonderful. I'm so glad that I could recreate this. Okay, so here's what we do there, Brooks. Let's go back here. First things first, we're going to take the two letters and we're going to convert it to curves. We're going to go into the scissor tool and let's get rid of the overlaps on the M. And then let's also get rid of the overlap on the B. Oops, that was stupid. Hold on a second. See what I just did there? Let's do that again, but this time make sure our box is checked. So let's get rid of that, and that. Now, we're going to come in here and we're going to just one time double check on our, make sure there's no issues with that font. And then we're going to, so the vector validator turned out good. We're going to make sure that they're both closed, which they are. And we should be able to come in here and God willing and the creek don't rise, we should be able to come in here and make both of the models, right? So convert it to a vector, clean up those overlaps, and then you're good to go. Okie doke. So what was stopping it, and it's weird. It's weird. It's very selective. Notice, let me hit undo. Let's back up on this. Let's go all the way back. Notice here that, let's go back to a font. Make sure I'm not a vector still. Hold on, let me back up one more step where I'm a font. Okay, notice here the M has 3 of these, but it still created that M. Now, if I convert this to a vector here, now if we look on here, these are completely, like they are part of the line. So they are completely overlapped. This one here, same thing, completely overlapped. So the, why would it, why would it do one versus the other? Now, could it have been just the vector selection order? Like, let's say that I'll undo it I'll undo it. Hold on a second. What am I doing? Control Z. Let me go back to a font. All right. Let's say that, let's go back here. And let me break this up into 2 lines here. Now, let's say that the M and the B are 2 separate vectors, right? They're fonts. I mean, 2 separate fonts. Will, now that it's not part of a sentence, right? Now that it's not part of, like, just MB typed together, will it create, now this is still a font, still has the trouble. Will it create just only the M and not the B in this scenario? Let's go ahead and do this. Yes, right? And so why is it being selective? The question that we ask ourselves, why is it, it's creating this one, with those 3 issues and everything. Why didn't it do it with the B? Well, let's find out. Let's do this. Let's back up. What if I were to select the B first and the M last, and then create? Still the B. So it doesn't matter, vector selection order, it plays no role in it whatsoever. So the only role it's just playing is it just, it needs to be cleaned up. I don't know why or what, for whatever reason, but convert those to curves. Same thing with this one. And oops. Do your little, make sure you're closed up, trim it up, whatever the case may be. And then, oops, don't do that. There we go. And then create your model. Okay. Oh, I got to open vector, go to join. So yeah, and then create your model. Yeah, so that's it. It was just that little overlap on that particular font. I'm glad I had that font. I'm glad I was able to recreate that. Hopefully that helped you, Brooks. There you go. All right, cool. Yeah, but there's always a reason, and it's a weird reason. Why did it do it for the M and not the B when the M had 3 of those overlaps versus the B's 1 overlap? Only the Vectric software knows, right? Only the Vectric gods know. We don't know why. All right, so okay, now so great question. I'm glad I was able to redeem myself on that one and come back on that one. Okay, Tony says, can you? Interesting. No bold and no overlaps on my font. Yeah, so convert it to a vector and take a double check. But not 100% sure on that one. All right, let's. Tony says, can you laser engrave on acrylic? And if yes, do you have to do anything special? Yes, you have to do something special. So a blue laser. Let's kind of 2 things. A laser is like the human eye. If we can see through it, the laser can go through it, kind of thing. And the we will either, on our acrylic, you keep your couple of things that you can do. You can keep your Make sure it's cast acrylic, by the way, too, versus plexiglass and all. But you can keep your protective cover on, your scratch cover, that you peel off, and I'll keep that on, and then you'll be great, good to go. Otherwise, you can, tape off one surface. But if colored acrylics, no problem. You can't hardly see through those dark, colored acrylics. So the laser can be fine. But clear acrylic, you have to have some type of coating on it, whether you tape it off or you use I just keep the clear plastic on it. Anything like that. But that's what you got to do. But yes, acrylic, I wish I had. That's not laser engraving, but acrylic laser engraves really well, and you just have to, especially with a blue diode laser and all, you have to have a coating on it. Something, tape it off. Keep the pilling on it. Keep the protective pilling on it, whatever the case may be, and then peel it off afterwards. That kind of case, then you'll be good to go, Tony. But if it's just clear on both sides and everything, then you're going to have you'll be hard pressed to really get good detail with a laser engraver. And it depends on the laser too. Now, if it's a CO2 laser or something, it'll cut out acrylic beautifully, but engraving it, you got to have some type of coating on it. Let's see here. Elaine, how do the allowance offsets and the separate last pass play nice together? That's a great question, Kurt. So in the let's go here. In a profile toolpath, when you're working with your profile toolpath, whatever it may be, the allowance offset, if I have I'm assuming that you're either, with the allowance offset, you're either cutting away from the line or you're cutting over the line, right? So if I have, let's say that I'm doing an outside cut, but I want to do an allowance offset to go over my line just a little bit. I want the bit to kind of just go over the line a few thousandths of an inch, let's say as an example. I'll do an outside cut, and I'll have a negative. A negative goes over the line, a positive stays away from the line. So we'll go a negative 0.02, just as an example. And for right now, I'm just going to calculate that first so that we can look at it in the 2D view with solid on. And we can come in here and zoom in, and we can see that 20 thousandths overlap, right? So I'm cutting on the outside of the line, but the bit is overlapping the line. And the same thing with if I was doing on the inside of the line. If I need to go over the line, even if I'm doing an inside cut, it's still a negative number, still a negative offset, allowance offset, okay? Still a negative allowance offset. And positive stays away from the line, okay? So I'm cutting on the outside of the line. I have a 20 thousandths allowance offset. I want I want to maybe clean up an edge or something like that. And at the same time, I'm wanting to use the separate last pass. The separate last pass is, my cut is that 20 thousandths over the line. Okay, that's my cut. So on my allowance offset, let's say that I want my allowance offset to be 0.06, right? 16th. Now that's going to be a positive number. And the allowance offset, so when I calculate this toolpath, and let's look at what we're dealing with here. My finish cut, and it's hard to see, but these two lines are together. This one's the last pass. So I think I'm making 3 passes here. Yeah. All right. So my allowance offset is that final cut right here. That's that 20 thousandths over. Okay. But from that line, my 0.06 from that finished cut, right? That, I'm making those two passes first, and then it's going to step over and cut my 20 thousandths. So this toolpath, if we look at the 2D view and the solid, I'm still cutting that 20 thousandths over. I'm still cutting that 20 thousandths over, but the first two passes are, 0.06 back, and then my third pass is at my offset, my allowance offset. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? So if I need to cut over the line, okay. Now, let's say that I want, let's say it's a positive number. Okay, and I calculate this toolpath and all. My allowance offset is now a 16 or 20 thousandths away from the line, on the cutout. That's my last pass. That is my last cut, right? So I'm still going to be stepped back my 0.06, but when it does that final pass, it's cutting that 20 thousandths off the line. It doesn't matter which way you're going. So that's how you play nice with that, Kurt. Hopefully that answered your question. Just know that I don't care how many passes it, 1, 7, 12, 2, whatever, not one, but 2 passes, 3 passes, all. Your last pass, whatever your offset you set for that, that's how far it's going to be away for those first couple of passes. And then on that third pass, it does the full, the full cut all the way around, right? And then whatever your allowance is up above, that's your final cut. That's your final cut. Whether it's away from the line or on the line, that's your final cut. That's that final step over. Okay? And that's both together. That is both together, Kurt. These are both together. Allowance offset, separate last pass. They're both together. Kurt, they are both together in this toolpath. So my first two passes are that 0.06 away from that final cut. And the final cut is that allowance offset, whether it's positive or negative. That's my final cut. That's my final cut. But I'm still stepped back for the separate last pass. They are both together. Okay? Make sense? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay. So let's take this, and I'm gonna be modeling and stuff as we go. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a rectangle here. Now I'm gonna copy and paste that rectangle, and I'm gonna rotate that 90 degrees, and I'm gonna shorten that up right about here, and I'm gonna raise that up to right about here. And I'm gonna make sure that my rectangle is centered left or up, centered, and then I'm going to make sure this is centered left to right. And then I'm going to weld that together. All right, so that's going to be the start of my design. All right, so let's see here. Lainey, any experience or knowledge on a package called DeskProto? This came up on Kyle's Q&A on Monday. Supposedly, it does a fantastic job with dealing with rotary and 3D model undercuts. No, have no clue what that is, but DeskProto, DeskProto 8, DeskProto 4th axis. Let's take a look here. I've seen that bear. Where's that bear? That's in New York, I think, or something like that. I've seen that bear before. So DeskProto, what is DeskProto to begin with? DeskProto, CNC machining for non-machinists. DeskProto is a 3D CAM software. It imports 2D vectors, 3D geometry STLs, and it will calculate toolpaths and .nc. That's fine. It's whatever. For any brand CNC, milling, 3-axis, 4-axis, or what have you. So it's just another CAD CAM software for someone that doesn't want to spend money on Fusion, Patriotic, Aspire, or what have you. I'm assuming that you can buy a commercial license, a hobby license, or you can use it free. 145 euros for a commercial license, 595 euros for a desktop expert edition commercial license, $1,000 for a commercial license, and all that. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's someone that doesn't want to use Fusion 360 or something like that, and they want a different I don't know, they never heard of them. No offense to DeskProto, but never heard of them. Yeah, so not familiar with it at all. And it's probably, I don't know, it's probably just a Fusion 360 alternative or something, just like FreeCAD and all that stuff. So yeah, they probably have, a little things for the rotary axis and all that and everything to make it easier. Fusion 360, I don't know how they handle rotary axis or anything. I'm just learning Fusion and just getting the basics down myself. But I've never tried to set up a rotary toolpath or this or that or anything. I've never tried to set up any kind of toolpath in Fusion. So this might be just an easier alternative, right? That kind of thing, JR. So that's that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of softwares out there that list the Planet CNC rotary axis. All right, let's see here. The lasers, quick question. Back on lasers. On a CO2 laser, we need a metal grid for doing cutouts. Is it also needed for our lasers? 100%. I would highly recommend, especially if you have the 45-watt laser, I recommend you purchasing a Honeycomb from Amazon. For sure. Yeah. Don't just burn straight to your wasteboard. Have a Honeycomb that you can take on and off and mount on your table. And they're inexpensive. And they come in different sizes and everything, but absolutely get a Honeycomb bed for your laser. And that's what they're called, Honeycomb beds, whatever. There's other names for them, but laser bed and all that. All right. Let's see here. What don't like about Fusion is the learning curve. What you don't like about Fusion is the learning curve. Yeah. So the I have the what's it called, the maker version, the free version where you can make 10 projects or something like that, Fusion 360, and it took me a good minute. It took me a good minute to give me just a second. I don't know where my my other bit setter is, but anyway, we'll use this one. it took me a good minute to get my bearings in this software. Right now, it has the same kind of marble for spinning around and everything, but it took a moment for me to kind of figure out my create. You start off with sketches, your vectors, just like everything. So it's called a sketch, and when you're choosing your sketch and everything, you choose your plane, and then you draw your vector, whatever it is, and you can type in whatever specific size. I do work in metric in Fusion. I'm finding nowadays working in metric is, especially with the 3D printing and everything. But now, once your sketch is done, right, then you go into creating your solids. And what are we doing with the circle? Are we push pulling it? Just kind of like are we? Let me get back to here. Are we push pulling the part? Extruding it up. Let me see if I can turn this sideways. Let me zoom out. Are we push pulling it, or are we doing an extrude of some sort? We're extruding. It's what's kind of, to me, it's the same thing as push pull, but it's not really. It took me a good minute to figure out how to navigate the software. And one thing I do like about the software now is this little playlist down here at the bottom, not that, down at the bottom behind my name. Let me see if I can turn my name off. Give me a second here. Show. Give me a minute. Hold on. Participant names. Turn that off for just a second. This little playlist right here, which keeps track of everything that you do, right, in Fusion. I do like that now, and you can step back, and you can, back up to that point, and you can change it or make changes or whatever, and it keeps track of your, every action that you do. It's like a little timeline. Love it. Love that little timeline, right? Little timeline you can step back and everything like that. So I kind of like that, but it took me a good minute. Now, let's go back in here, and let's say that in my part, let's go back to this, and again, let's push-pull this. Now, let's say that in here, I'm going to go back to creating a sketch, and on that sketch, I'm going to draw another circle right here. Now, on that circle, I'm going to make a hole. And I didn't even need to draw the circle. That was, see, I still don't know it all very well. But now this took me, how to make a hole took me forever to figure out. But then I loved it once I figured it out, as far as like, is it going to be a countersunk hole? Is it going to be a counter bore hole? What is the overall length? What is the width of the, the counter bore? Is it going to be a square bottom or flat bottom? And what's the width of that kind of thing? So let's say that this was 10 millimeters, whatever the case may be, 30 millimeters, and all. When you create that, and again, let's come over here. My counter bore is very shallow, but oh, come on now. There we go. Let me spin this around. Ooh. Takes a minute to learn that the roller wheel is backwards too. But so I have, my hole, and then I have the little counter bore, which is hard to see because I didn't go very deep, but I have the counter bore and everything. So it took me a minute. So this has got a learning curve, but, and I don't want to get into a Fusion conversation because I don't know Fusion well enough to teach it and all that stuff. But let me get out of that. There's a learning curve, but there's also these windows that pop up to tell you how to do things. There's all these little tips that pop up, and Vectric has the tips too. I have them turned off, but in the 3D view, they have the little toggle prompts, where it can tell you what to do and things like that and stuff. at the very bottom of the screen, we can toggle prompts on and off and things like that. So, you know, there's major differences, of course. You know, I'm learning it. I've only been, you saw those projects. I've only been designing in it for a week, right? You know, that kind of thing. And, you know, you know, the only reason I'm using it is for my 3D printing and stuff like that. So, okay. All right, let's get back to it. Let's get back to the chat. All right, let me move on with my, real quick, let me get something going here. I want to offset this inward, and I want to go inward 3/4 of an inch with sharp corners. Yeah, that'll be good. Now, what I also want to do here is I want to draw a profile that's going to be, my material is 1 inch thick, and the width is going to be that 3/4 I just offset. So I want to apply that. And I want to go into node editing, and I want to get rid of this point, and I want to turn this into an arc. And I want to create a bit of a, what's a good, let me see here. What's a good looking, that's a good looking arc. And then in node editing, I want to get rid of this bottom span here. Delete the span. Okay. And I want to use these 2 rails as a 2-rail sweep on this. And this is going to be my profile. So I'm going to do a 2-rail sweep, making sure, it's very important. You see how one set of arrows is going one direction and one set of arrows is going another? It'll cause a twist. Don't want that. So I need to make sure that I come in here and reverse the rail. They need to be flowing in the same direction. Very important when you're modeling and stuff, especially in the 2-rail sweep. So that's my drive rails. And then I want to go ahead and create this and apply this all the way around. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to give me crazy. Give me a second. Crazy for feeling so. Give me a minute. Node editing. Cut the vector. I don't think I needed to cut the vector. I just need to make this the start point. Make that the start point. Make that the start point. Let me undo the cut vector. I don't think I needed to cut the vector. Hold on a second. Shoot. Control. I've learned. I'm forgetting my keys here. Control Z. Make sure that vector is closed. There we go. I think I just need to make this my start point. Okay, now let's go here and there. My 2 start points, I had 2 different start points, so it caused a bit of a screwy little thing there. And wonderful. So in here, very important that I want to make sure that I have sharp square corners. Okay. And right now I don't. So I got this real funky thing happening right there. So I need to make sure that I do not scale the width. I want to sweep between the 2 spans. And the I'm not happy with the way that it's handling the corners, right? So I want to deal with that too and everything. Yeah, my start point was off. Thank you, Roger S. Thank you. I'm not liking the way that it handles the corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come in, do this a little bit different. I'm going to create an offset inward. I'm going to go 3/8 of an inch with sharp corners. And I'm going to use a single rail sweep. And then I want to make sure that create sharp corners is checked and sweep between spans. And that should handle that much better. Now, that's an inside profile. I need it to be the other direction. So I need to, I can reverse the rail here and apply that to bring it outside, but I could also just flip my profile as well too. All right, so I want to come in here, and with that done, I want to take this vector here and I want to offset it outward. And I want to go outward just a 32nd. With sharp corners there. And what that's going to do is when I create my flat shape here, that is going to give me that overlap for that merge combine mode and everything. So when I create that flat plane, when I create that flat plane, it will merge together. Okay. So that gives me that nice mitered edge profile. Right, all right, all right. All right, now I'm going to take this same vector here. I'm going to offset that inward. I'm going to offset it, offset inward, and I want to go inward quarter of an inch. Let me think about this real quick. Yep. And then I want to offset that inward another 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to select those two vectors, and I'm going to do a flat. And I'm going to subtract that from there, and I'm just going to go down, I don't know, 3/16. What's love got to do with it? Am I missing something there, George? Let me see here. Undo that. Undo that. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm not quite sure how to Alexa, stop. Thank you. All right, so one more time. I'm going to take these two vectors, and I saw what the problem was. That was turned on. And I want to create a new flat region, subtract 0.1875. And 3/16 is too much. Let's go 1/8 of an inch. That's crazy that that's rounded. What's love got to do? insane. All right, so this is rounding. It's kind of taking over. It's taking on the shape of the shape that's underneath it, you know, and everything for some reason, some odd reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to insert a new level. I'll move this up to that level, and I want to turn this off for a second. I want to see what we got going on here. And it might have been an optical delusion. It just might have been an optical delusion in my sense. Let's go here. This is a merge. There we go. All righty then. Is that an optical delusion? Does that look rounded? Why is it? And hold on a second. I don't know. It just looks like it's curved in there. Anyway, that's fine. I think it's just me. I'll be damned if that doesn't look curved. It looks like it's not flat. Why does that look like that? I am super familiar with SketchUp. I'm very proficient in SketchUp. Let me see. Let's go back and let's see what questions JR is asking here. Why not stick with SketchUp for your 3D printing? Is SketchUp lacking something? Yes, SketchUp is lacking something very much. I have the free version of SketchUp and I can't export STL models, right? So I have to create my model, export my STL model out to bring into my slicing software for the 3D print. You know, and SketchUp requires, you know, for certain model exports and things like that and everything, and imports. I have someone else who creates models for me that I import in, and I can't import 3D models into SketchUp and everything like that, but I can import them into Fusion 360 and stuff. So that's why I'm not exploring Fusion 360. I am perplexed. I really am. Let me turn this off. It's not part of that other model. It's flat. It must be flat. It just looks so. Maybe let me go with a wider line. Let me go with a wider line. It might just be trying to tell me, hey, that you need to go wider. It doesn't look good. All right, let's go with a wider line. Let's get rid of this one. Let's offset this back in. Whoops. Instead of 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to go 1/4 square. There we go. Now, it's going to create, because in the flat, you know, here, there's no real way of saying create sharp corners or anything like that. So it's not going to create those mitered corners. So if I subtract that, then it's going to, oh, come on. Quit playing with me now. If I subtract that, it's not really going to create. Well, yeah, it does. Yeah, it handles those sharp corners. Okay, good. All right, so that needs to be a subtract, and it's got to go. Let's put it back in. We can just come here. Wonderful. All right, all right, all right. Good. That's what I want. That's what I want. Okay, so next. The cursor readout says Z height is. Oh, let me get rid of. Give me a second. Blocking no view there. The cursor readout says the Z height is what? Uh, 0.875. Down that eighth of an inch. All right, can you check the layers like in 3D printing that would let you see if it's rounded? No, you know, in 3D printing, I love in the 3D printing the when you're looking at you're looking at a sliced model or a component, and when you're looking at a component and everything, you can here you can kind of step back, right? So as I slice this and I'm looking at the different layers and everything, I can kind of step back on those layers to take a look at them, right? You know, as it builds up, you know, on those layers and everything. And I love that. I like that, John. It's really cool. Again, I don't know anything about anything. I bought a print farm. I got 6 3D printers. I bought 6 of them to start producing parts and things, and all for some things that I'm packages I'm about to put out, limit switch packages and things like that. But so I'm just now learning. But I bought 6 3D printers, and yeah, they're all workers. They're working. And I bought a scanner too. I bought a scanner, a 3D scanner. So now I can scan things. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's get out of that and go back here. Okay, so now that I have this, but yeah, John, no. So layers like 3D print, it would be cool if I could drop the layer down. You know, like kind of have it back down to that level. That'd be awesome. But anyway, yeah, not like slicing. If I was slicing this model, I could. If I sliced it, if I used the slice tool right here, slice the model, then I could step back and turn off the slices, right? But you know, it's not as easy as just the slider bar kind of thing. All right, I'm going to go into my clip art that's with the software that come with the software, and I'm going to go under decorative, and under the decorative software, I'm going to try to find something that is viney. That's the right term. That has some vinage to it. And I'm going to go into all right, so in my component tree now, this needs to get dropped down into this level here. Let's get rid of that level 2. I don't need it. And on this, I don't want this to be like standing out like that so high. So I'm going to step that back quite a bit. on the detail. And now I'm going to take that same object and I'm going to Control C, Control V, copy and paste. I'm going to rotate that object and I'm going to center it left to right. Center that one left to right. And now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to create a vector around it. I'm going to draw a vector around it. And then I'm going to take that vector and I'm going to offset it outward 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key, turn this off and hit delete. And then I'm going to take this model and this vector, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tell it to subtract anything that's inside the vector from that model. And then I'm going to get rid of that. And let's go less. Undo, Control Z. Control Z. Control Z, Control Z. I mean, I could almost leave it right on the line so it blends. Let's see what that looks like. Let's come in here and ungroup it. Turn off that and hit delete. Take this model, take this. And if I'm going to blend it, then I need to offset this inward a few thousand, 0.01, delete the original. And then I can do that, clear everything outside or inside. Okay. Now I need this to kind of, blend a little bit. So I'm going to take this 1/8 inch right here. I'm going to do what's called a fade. But before I do the fade, I'm going to take this component here and I'm going to give it a little bit of height. Not much. Oh, I hate when it does that. Okay. I'm going to take this model here, and I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more because there's still a little bit of a gap right there. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to just use my mouse. Whatever I do on this side, I'll do on the right side. So I'm just going to bump it to the left. Oh, it's together. All right, hang tight. Okay, very important. Instead of the subtract, I need to split the model. Okay, so instead of a subtract, I need to split the model. So I'm going to undo this, and I don't think I need a closed vector to split this model. Let me find out. There we go. And okay, I need to split it twice because I need my left and my right side. Let me do that one more time. But this time I'm going to go into node editing. I'm going to cut the vector here and down here, just somewhere, pick a spot. And then over here, same thing. I'm going to cut the vector here and here. I'm going to get rid of that upper vector. I'll get rid of this lower vector, and I'll just have those two lines. So one more time, we're going to take this model and we'll split it twice. So I'll select this vector and we'll split that once. And then I'll take this model and this vector and split that again. Then I'll get rid of this. Then now these are two separate things. I can come back on this component and make it the 3/16 that I want it to be. Now I can come in and I can bump this over. I'm just going to go one little bump here, and I'm going to take this one and one little bump there, just to blend that a little bit better. Now I got to merge these all together. Now these are going to merge, but they're going to be added to the cross. So now another level is required. So these items have to play nice with each other on their own. They have to merge together, these three items. But the combined object needs to add, that level needs to add to the level underneath it. So the needs to merge together. Now, on this, adding that 3/16 and then bringing that in, it did merge just fine. I don't really need to fade now. And you see how pixelated that is? Let's go back into the design here. Hold down the shift key, and I'm already in the extremely high. So let's see. You can't make a bad model a good model. You know what I mean? And so let's see what we can accomplish here. Yeah. All right, so I'm still going to do a bit of a fade, so they're not quite as tall here. So how you do a fade is I'm going to go into this one on the left first, and we're going to do a fade. And let's do this. We'll do it in the 2D view and then the 3D view. You'll see in the 3D view, I can open up the properties tool here. But on the fade, the first place you click is what you want to keep. Second place you click is what you want to fade. So on the fade, when I go to set this, I want to, out here I want to keep, but I want to fade into here, this area. So I want it to start to gradually fade. Now I don't need a 50% fade, so I can, bring that down a little bit. We'll go 15%. I don't need that much of a fade to achieve what I want to achieve there. Same thing here. When I click on this object, I can go into the properties and fade, set, click where you want to keep, click second where you want to fade to. So I'm going to come straight into here. And again, I only need about a 15-degree fade on that, just so it blends. I might increase that one just a little bit, just to blend that in a little bit more right there. I'll keep it 15. I'll blend that in with sculpting or something. All right, cool. Okay. So now on this, we'll have this going on here, something like that. Let me answer some questions now. To sidetrack the topic of 3D printing, can you program a pause at a said layer? Yes, you can, because sometimes you have to pause. And when you pause, the machine will raise up and it will move off of the print so that it's not damaging it or anything like that. So it's not damaging it. And then it'll move off the print, because you might have to pause to, let's say I'm putting magnets into my project or something, or threaded inserts or nuts or whatever, and I need to pause so I can drop them into their place, and then I need it to continue and clean. Now, some 3D printers have a really nice feature where the nozzle, it'll clean the nozzle off. There's like a little brush, where it'll clean the nozzle off and everything, so it comes back and it doesn't bring any boogers with it, it doesn't bring any like strings or, any little spuge that might be sticking out and all. But it's a little bit more of an expensive 3D printer. Mine does not have that, but you can make that. You can write that code in. You can create that little operation, and you can 3D print you a little thing that is, it kind of comes over like a little brush. It comes over and or whatever. It comes over and kind of scrapes on that to clean off the nozzle, and then it'll go over and it comes over clean. There's videos on that online and everything. And again, dude, I've only been 3D printing for a week, so I'm not I don't have a whole lot of answers on that. But yes, you can pause. And the cool thing about the pause or stop or whatever, it moves off of the part, so it's not sitting on top of, damaging the part or whatever. Can you move the flourish to add level and then set the flourish to merge? Do the same thing? No, not really, Brooks. If I merge these two together, then that model will be behind and convoluting the shape in here. I don't want this model inside of here. I don't want to see any part of the two sides through the back. I want the back to be continuous. Let me turn this off. I want the back to be continuous. I do not want it to merge on a different layer and everything. I don't want it to merge where I can see whatever, parts of that model that's behind it through those openings and stuff. And everything. So I want to get rid of that part altogether, and I'd much rather merge the sides into the sides and everything and all. And now what you're going to see here, what's going to happen, what you're going to see in just a moment here is we're going to turn everything off except for these two items right here. And we're going to make just those visible. And I'm not going to sculpt my originals. Never am I going to sculpt my originals. I am going to create a new component from the visible, and I'm going to turn off my originals in case I ever need to change them or anything like that. I don't bake them together. I don't do anything. I create a new component. And then that component is going to be the only thing that's visible as I go into the sculpting tool. And again, I don't want to see that model in this area and everything and everything. I don't want to see whatever's in there, you know, convoluting that. All right, let me make my diameter smaller, my smoothness less. These models, sorry, Vetric, but the models from Vetric are just, I'm in an extreme resolution right now, and they're just shit. They are. They're low quality. Anyhow, but I can't do any better. I can't, you know, I can't draw this from scratch. Anyhow, love you, Vetric, but you know, do better. All right. So let's go into here. Look at the pixelation. Oh my God. And I'm just going to kind of blend that in there. Maybe it's just the sculpting tool that's so pixelated, but holy cow, that's terrible. I mean, that's terrible, terrible. God, that quality sucks. Anyhow. All right, what can you expect for free clip art? Okay, let's go ahead and click OK. And see, it's not pixelated in the regular environment, so maybe it's just that sculpting tool. But why would that, the one place that I need the best detail so I can see what the heck I'm doing, right? You know, the highest detail so I can see what I'm blending, so I can see what I'm doing. Why would that be such poor quality? Lord have mercy. Anyway, I'm being a pain in the butt. I'm tired. I'm hangry. That's what it is. I'm hungry and angry. All right, let's go ahead and turn that back on. All right. So we've got that blend happening there. Okay, now, so that's so far, this is what we have, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Okay. Now, I want to try something in lieu of, and we've been at this for an hour and 23 minutes, but I want to try something in lieu of Independence Day. I want to kind of bring a flag into the mix. We'll see. Give me a second here. Yes, look into a YouTube stream. Okay, let's see here. Interesting. Could you use the weave tool? No. No, the weave tool. No, it wouldn't work. If you created your own, you could probably weave together, but no, unfortunately, it won't. You know, the weave is looking for, you know, those single lines and all. I don't think the weave tool would work, and I say no right away because I 100% know that, you know, the way the weave tool is fidgety about things, it wouldn't weave that proper. I mean, we can test that theory. We can test that theory by we can test that theory by turning off here. We can go. Let's turn this off for a second. Turn this on. Turn this off. Copy. duplicate, new layer, drop that up there, turn this off, take this and Control C, Control V. Are you going to let me copy and paste you, dude? Control C, Control V. Yep. You are. Let's rotate this 1, 2. It's almost kind of like a natural weave in itself, the way it is. It's almost like it was designed that way. Let's take this and move it up. All right, now let's go into the weave tool. Yeah, there's no drive rails. And there's no cross section, and there's no drive rails. So let me create a drive rail. Hold on a minute. Let's see how smart I am. Does it require, if I draw this line from here to here, this line from here to here, and I make those two lines my drive rail, and then I'm using the component. It's not going to let me really hold on. It created a new part. Let's turn off the so some reason it cut off the end there. Oh, I didn't have my line drawn all the way. So it did it did. It's not really a weave, but you know, it doesn't go over and under, but let me see what the difference is if I just had the two. It's the same thing. Bear with me a second. Let me get my bearings on my visual here. Okay, so this is over this one versus the way it is in the other one. And it's over that. Versus being under. So it kind of brings it up over. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there you go, Brooks. So you could do that. Sure enough. Sure enough. Yep. I want it clean in here, but yes, you could absolutely do that. Okay. So now we have So yes, to answer your question, yes, you could use the weave tool. You have to draw a line and then use that model, just one of the model, because it's going to make the new model like it did. It'll make the new component. So you just have to pick the component and pick your vector lines, and it'll recreate that, but my vector line, if you notice, it didn't create the full part because my vector line didn't run to the full end. So make sure your line at least is the length of the part, because if you notice on the component that it created, it cut off over here for some reason. It made the top and bottom, but it didn't do that one. So I'm not sure. Anyhow, but yes, so that's an option. Very good. Okay, let me get back to this. All right, let me get rid of these vectors that don't belong in here. This and this. Now, I said I was talking about a flag. So I want to give me just a second. Let me look at my design here and let me think real quick. Okay, I don't want to, I was thinking about maybe some kind of torn or tattered, flag or something draping over the one side of the cross and everything. I'm not going to be able to pull that off in this limited amount of time and without some serious, designing and all, but I want to try to at least let me import a vector. And all right, now when a flag is hung vertically, it's very important that the union face on the left. Yeah, union on the left, for vertical wall display. All right, so what I want to do is what I'm hoping to be able to do is I'm not going to use the whole flag. All right. So first things first, I'm going to create a foundation. And so on this foundation, I'm going to create a flat area. I'm going to go a 1/4 of an inch thick. We're going to put it in an appropriate level. We're going to put it at level 3 for right now. And that's going to be my base. And again, it's going to be a 1/4 inch thick. Probably go maybe 3/8, but for right now, 1/4. I'll build it up thicker in just a minute. All right, so next, I'm going to take the stars, the union. I'm going to build this up. They're going to actually be raised, the stars. So we're going to go 45. We're going to go 100% limit on them. We're going to preserve the internal corners. Very important to preserve the internal corners. I will do the tethered and torn in the next class for sure. For sure. And as a matter of fact, I'm glad you said save. Let me do that really quickly, because none of this has been saved yet. Thanks for that part, that reminder. Cross. I'll tell you where I got the inspiration from, and I'll show you in just a second. It's not gonna. I'll show you in just a second where I get the inspiration from. Okay, so let's go. Let's split this view for a second. Okay. None of this stuff will be seen here. It's going to be. This will make sense in about 2 seconds. I do know that my base, needs to be just a little bit thicker. So let's go 3/8. All right, now when it comes to the did I hit apply on that? Did that apply? Did that apply? Yes, it did. Okay. Let's go a 1/2 inch. Don't worry, none of this stuff behind will be there in a minute. Give me just a second to get this built up, and it'll make sense in just a minute. Okay, so now on the stripes, now each one of these stripes are individual. So I'm going to select this, 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 and that. And I'm going to build that up another 3/16. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take on this component. So basically, just so you know, if I turn off this, what we have here is this. Okay, and this is wrong. The stripe shouldn't be. So hold on, I got to go the other direction. This needs to be subtract. Nope. Hold on. Wrong. This needs to be deleted. Don't do. I selected the wrong vectors. So I need this one, that one, that one. I don't really need all these out here, but we'll grab them anyway. This one and that one. All right, one more time. Flat, subtract. 16ths. For right now, let's just go 1/8 of an inch. Ah, you goofball. Come on, dude. Stand by. All right, one more time. Let's try this again. Subtract. White stripes. Apply. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to take this component that I just built of these three things, and I'm going to make a visible model of it, a copy of it, again, so keep my originals intact. And then I'm going to take the boundary of the cross here, and I'm going to select that component. And I'm going to take everything outside of that component away. And then I need that to drape over the cross, but I need it to stay solid. I need it to not have it dip down into this. I need it to stay solid like this. And I need to move over off of that corner. So let me take this component. I'm going to actually undo. Let me back up, Jack. Undo. And I want to take this component. I'm going to take it all so it all stays lined up in case I need to change something. So this, and this. Let me turn them back on. But I want to take all of this and I want to move it over. Okay, now I want to turn that off. Now I want to take that in this vector and clear everything outside of it. No, you goofball, come on, dude. Come on. Stand by. I want to be able to see a little bit of, that's good. Okay, one more time. Fireworks are already going off in the neighborhood. All right, here we go. We're going to clear everything outside of that vector, leaving that. It doesn't need to be that thick, but not liking I'm not liking the let me trim that to the inside vector here. Come on, dude. I don't like that either. One more. This isn't the look I'm going for, but it's the best I got right now. Let's take this. I got it. Hold on. Offset inward. We're going to offset inward. Let's offset inward. Quarter of an inch. Sharp corners. Okay. If you see me ducking, I'm not. I'm just ducking because of the Oh, Lord. All right, clear everything outside of that. All right, so now I'm going to take this vector. I'm going to turn on the other part of the design, which was this and this. And then I need to take on those. Let me turn off. Let me put this here. All right, so now I got these two here, so I can turn this off for a minute. So I'm left with this. I can, I don't want to screw up with my originals, so I will create a copy of that visible model. I will come in and turn off my originals. Turn this back on. Take this selected vector here, or this selected model, and take this selected vector, not that one, not that one. Bear with me. What's the tool that draws a damn? Oh, that. Okay, one more time. Sorry. Take this component right here, select this vector, and clear everything inside of that vector away. Nope. Nope. Hold on a minute. Okay, it's not that vector. It's not that vector. It's that one. Okay, there we go. Finally found the right vector. Sorry about that. All right, so now I've got this inside vector that kind of has this profile here of this, and then I've got this component selected. Now I can clear outside of it, or inside of it, leaving just those three pieces there, just like that. Come back in here, turn back on this base, turn back on, not that one. Really, this stripe should kind of come in here some, so the stripe shouldn't come all the way over the edge. Bear with me, I got to draw a new vector. So I want to keep this vector right here. This is the vector I want. But I want it to kind of come right down the middle here. So not the middle, but I want it to kind of come down here. And this way, if I select this and this, I should be able to take my scissors and trim that. All the way to there. And then down here, that should be one vector now. Oh, I got another leg right there. So that should be, oh, still another one. All right, so that should be a closed vector now, right through there. Okay, now that's what I want. So I need that and this component. I need to clear everything outside of that. Oops. Make sure my vector's closed. Still got an open vector, so it's closed there. So it's down here. Yep. Very important. When you're looking for open vectors and everything, find the node, the starting point. Okay? And so the start point is typically, the start point and the end points don't come together. So while this line comes over to here, my start point is like, you know, not part of that vector. So I need to delete that span and recreate that start point there. So now I should have, you know, nope, still open. Let me find it. Are you going to do this to me all the way around, dude? You're going to do it all the way around? Let me see if it gets it all the way around here. Crazy. Okay. I see what's happening here. So I need to go into here. This vector needs to be with this one, not this one here. So the coming around, this needs to be one closed vector. Okay. So once again, find that start point and figure it out. I had two lines. I clipped the wrong lines. All right, one more time. Here we go. Let's go back to this model here with that vector and clear everything on the outside away. What that should do is it should bring me to this and to where I'm just overlapping that. And this would be painted red and all. We're going to blend this in. I'll blend here in just a minute. But this vector needs to now go up and trim to that. So I come back to, on this model here, that was this component right here. Okay. And so if I go back and turn that off, and I come back into my copy of that visible model, not that one. One more time. Turn this layer off for a second. Turn this layer off for a second. So this is only visible. Go back in one more time and create that copy of that component. Go back in again. Turn that off. And with that vector selected, with this new vector here, clear away everything on the inside of that. Oh, you son of a gun. Hold on a minute. Yes and no. That was right. And this is... give me just a moment. Okay, one more time. We're getting there. This is just, again, I'm just goofing around now at this point. Let's see here. Go back to here. Select that component. Clear everything inside of that vector. There we go. All right, now I can turn everything back on. Base. That flag. Now, I want the stars to be a little bit more prominent. I want them really sticking up. And so I'm going to rebuild them. Just these. And really kind of like, I want them standing up really tall. And then I'm going to take that component there and take that same vector and get rid of everything on the outside of that to get those to stand up a little bit more. Now, I'm going to end up blending. I'll probably end up, removing some material or blending this in and kind of like, getting it to drape a little bit better. But let me show you the inspiration of where this is coming from and what I'd like, what I'd love to do in a class. Let me save this. So, let me show you the inspiration. And you can see that I'm, far from it. So let's see here. Far, far from it. Let me see if I can find it again. Okay, so this would probably look better, but open image in a new tab. Go here. Let's bring that on the screen. Okay, so something like that. But this is the inspiration. Now, this flag, this is the inspiration for the design. Now, I have wings that I can put behind it, but the flag is feathers, you know, so it's not even stripes, it's not even vertical or anything like that. You know, this is a bead right here instead of a, you know, a crop down, but this is kind of the, and the union should have went up into this part up here too. You know, just like that, you know, kind of like, you know, something along that line. That was the inspiration. Saw that, thought it was pretty cool and all, but there's no real time to even do any sculpting, you know, for the feathers and all that stuff and everything. So that was the inspiration. And then from there, you know, just a, you know, the flag kind of, you know, vertical and across. That's, you know, that was kind of the second thought here. And then this is just me kind of, the union should have went up. It should have went up into here on the side instead of stopping right there. I should have moved over and I should have outlined this cross with the vector, and I should have trimmed the flag to that vector of that outline shape. That would have probably looked better and all that stuff. But that is the, or was the idea. That was the idea, you know, building off that, right? So just playing around and everything. It didn't, the flag doesn't look good on it the way it is, you know, as a vertical stripe. But but that wrapping around, you know, that wrapping around where, you know, it actually, you know, that wrapping around, that's pretty cool, right? The feathers and everything where it wraps around. And then, you know, you have the end of the, it's a pretty awesome design. Unfortunately, this isn't a model. This is just a graphic image on Etsy that someone's selling, right, on Etsy. And it's just the image. They're just selling the graphic image that they say 3D illusion for laser cut design, Glowforge, X tool. So it's kind of like a 3D laser. But to be honest with you, the 3D result doesn't look good at all. I think it would look much more badass as a STL model. So anyway, that was the inspiration. Not trying to create that exactly, but it just, you know, I liked the look. Pretty slick. I like the look. I thought that was pretty slick, but unfortunately, it doesn't lend itself in this fashion. It doesn't really do it for me. You know what I mean? And that's the hard thing about when you're trying to lay one thing over another. You know, I'd love for this to have its own organic shape, and like just drape. And that's where sculpting comes in. I'm not a great sculptor, but you know, sculpting and things like that. But yeah, just playing around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's we're 2 hours and 10 minutes in. It doesn't look like any other questions have come across the board. Let's see here. We did have some, but though, let's see here. Could you move your flourish to add level and set each flourish to merge, which we talked about. We did the weave tool question, which was a good idea. 9. Wonderful. All right. Thanks for the likes, guys. For some reason, the likes don't upgrade in real time, but that's okay. I appreciate it. Anything helps. Let me turn off this flag component for a moment, and let me turn off this component for a moment and turn this back on. So we're here, and here for kicks and giggles, hang tight for a second. Let me see what. Let me hang tight for 2 seconds. Stay with me for 2 more seconds. I promise it'll be worth it. Okay, we are at a maximum resolution. Cross and flourish. Give me a second. Stay with me. Two more seconds. All right, in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, paste. In the chat is a download link to that cross right there that you see on the screen. It's free. If anybody wants to play around with that, if anybody's got any sculpting skills or anything like that, and you want to kind of play around with something like that, if you have a spire, you can take the flourish out by drawing a rectangle around where the cross is, delete that part of the cross and rebuild it back to a flat. And then whatever the case may be. But yeah, there's the link if you want to play around. Download that cross and kind of start from there. And if you got any sculpting skills, I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them. But all right. All right, everybody. We're going to say good night. There's no more questions. I don't see any more questions that came across, but great questions on what you did talk about. And, maybe down the road when I get better at, Fusion or something, we might, take a look at Fusion every once in a while. Who knows? I'm not there yet. By any means. I'm not there on 3D printing. I'm not there on scanning, but I would like to show how to scan like a panel and then bring it in and, you know, clean it up and stuff in Vetric. That would be pretty cool with the scanner, you know, for the future and all. But as far as projects every week, ladies and gentlemen, there's two downfalls to doing live videos all the time. One is the live videos, they don't count toward, like, when looking, you know, up a search on YouTube, you know, how to do this, how to do that. The live videos don't show up, but the recorded videos, you know, those recorded videos that are on the video channel, not the live channel, they show up in the results list. So you see a lot of, you know, Kyle's videos, a lot of Garrett Fromm's, a lot of Mark Lindsay, but you don't see hardly any of mine. I have over 350 how-to videos, but none of them show up in the results, right? So at some point in time, I don't know, I'll see about how I can convert those into regular videos or something and put them in the regular channel, but they got to be shorter. They can't be this long. But so from time to time on Thursday nights, you might get a video uploaded of a class, you know, just a topic or something like that that's not actually a live stream. And you know, all of you are so used to me doing lives all the time, live. You know, that's all you got, but it doesn't help my channel at all. The lives hardly ever get monetized or anything like that. So I'm not making, you know, I'm losing a lot of income on the lives. But if I start producing a video a week and I start uploading a video, short video to the point, here's how to do this, here's how to do that, here's how to do this, then that'll start populating in those search results and everything and all this stuff and everything. And I got to looking at that because let me show you an example. Bear with me. Hang tight. Let me see if I can get it to pop up again. Come on now, pop up for me. AI mode. Pop up for me. Hold on a minute. Well, darn it. Anyhow, so in, you know, let's say the topic, CNC wood carving lessons no one is teaching, right? That's the topic. CNC wood carving lessons no one is teaching, right? There's all kinds of, you know, things and everything, but, you know, like find CNC carving lessons that cover truly unique and advanced, blah, 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 right? Mastering Vetric courses like Learn Your CNC. That's Kyle, right? You know, I've been doing this for 10 years. None of my videos show up in any of these results. Now, Kyle's comes up in kind of this like advanced AI, you know, search and all that. And he's, you know, God bless him, doing good. But, you know, none of these search results come up or anything as Spindle TV. There's no Spindle TV, nothing, Spindle TV, nothing. It's because they're all lives. They're all lives. There's no recorded videos. Spindle TV has 5 recorded videos on its channel, 5 or 6, 7, somewhere around there. And then 350 something lives. And those lives don't count for anything. I mean, they count for you guys for teaching you lives and all, but they don't they absolutely help me in no way whatsoever. I mean, I've been doing this 10 years and I'm not, so if you don't get a live every once in a while and you get a recorded class, still a class on Thursday night, releasing for Thursday and everything, that's the class, but I'm just doing a recorded event instead of a live event. I got to start getting something on the books. I got to start doing some recorded classes and uploading those to the channel. I'm not going to stop lives by any means. Not stopping lives. I mean, that's my I love lives, right? But let me get back over here. I'm not going to stop lives, but I got to throw out some recorded videos, recorded classes every once in a while. I need to build up the main, not the live part of this channel, but the video part of the Spindle TV channel videos. And then they have live and this and that, right? I need to build up the video part of the channel because there's only like 5 or 6 or 7 videos on the video channel. So it's like this channel has nothing. Lives don't count for anything for that. So I will start. I need to start doing recorded classes too, like recorded classes straight to the point. Here's how to do it to release to y'all. And how do I move? Hey, thank you, JR. How do I move a live video from my live to videos? That's good. That's a good topic right there. I'll definitely do that because I got to get something over on the books. Right now, there's nothing on the books. You know what I mean? If you Google or YouTube search, right? If you're on YouTube and you're searching, CNC tutorials. I don't even know how to spell tutorials. And everything. And you come into the, the search results. Spindle TV is nowhere. I'm 2 or 3 pages in now, right? And so I got to start building up the recorded side because I'm in the world of the CNC tutorial how-to videos. As far as YouTube is concerned, I'm nobody. I'm a nobody, right? But there's not a single Spindle TV tutorial. Not a single Spindle TV tutorial in the search results. Right? So, and that doesn't pay. And unfortunately, I guys, I'm living hand to mouth or whatever, however you say it. I was eating hot dogs with no buns all week this week. Just cooked in the microwave for a minute, dipped in ketchup on a paper plate because excuse my language, I'm broke. Right. So long story short, if you start seeing not more and more, but you start seeing recorded classes and all, support those, watch them, right? Because I'm going to start doing more recordings. I'm going to kind of back off on the lives a little bit to start building up that channel because I got to start getting views. I got to start getting, income again and everything. Otherwise, I got to go get another job, right? All right, everybody. Love you. Thanks for all your support and all that stuff. Really, really do appreciate everything you do. Super chats help and all that stuff. So everybody that's ever done a super chat, I really appreciate you with those little donations and everything. That makes a big difference. And I'm not poor mouthing it and all that stuff. I'm just saying that you're not going to see a lot of lives all the time. I mean, I'm going to still do lives, but you know what I mean? You're going to see, sometimes you're going to get a recorded class, a video that's released once a week, recorded class, And that's going to be the weekly class, right? That's going to be the video. Support it, watch it, learn from it, all that wonderful stuff. It's just not going to be a live interaction. So we'll see. Mark Lindsay's successful with his live Q&As once a week, and then he does a printed video and all that wonderful stuff and everything. So we'll look at something like that. But I like the live classes, these 2 and 3 hour long classes. I can't do that kind of length, and if I do regular videos, like they can't be this long, and all that stuff. But we'll see what it is. But right now, everybody's kicking my butt, man. Garrett, Kyle. Hell, even people that aren't even in the Vectric world, but there's not a spindle TV to be found anywhere in there. YouTube, help me out here, brother. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a wonderful day. Play around with that cross. See if you can do something pretty cool with it. Again, it was on Etsy that it was called a Patriotic Cross 3D Illusion on Etsy. Patriotic Cross 3D Illusion. Thought that was pretty slick. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll catch you later. Next week will be a live class, but I'm going to start figuring out what class type videos to make. I got to look at it, what everybody else is doing, and kind of compete somehow. And then I'll start kind of working on a schedule and everything. But next week will be a live one. Same time, same channel. All right, everyone. Y'all have a wonderful and no, I'm not a nobody. I'm talking about you guys make me somebody, right? I love y'all make me somebody. Now, hold on, keep this in mind now. I'm not saying I'm nobody, but no, I'm somebody. I've been doing it 10 years, but according to YouTube, I have nothing to offer. And I just typed in CNC tutorials. Right? CNC tutorials, which, I should at least show up in the basics of that, right? Nothing. Pages and pages and pages of nothing. No spindle TV anywhere. So in YouTube's eyes, my live videos don't count for anything. All right, everyone. Y'all have a wonderful, hey, yes, happy 4th of July. That's like happening any moment now. Be safe. Come back next week with all your toes and fingers and all. Do not blow anything off this weekend. Catch you later. Stay sharp. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.